Hello, it's Polish Pol VR, welcome back to the channel. We are here today to do some more PlayStation VR2 news. Today we're talking about Aces of Thunder again, but this time around it's actually good news, I think. Anyway, we've got update on that game, and also I will be reviewing Richie's Plank experience for PlayStation VR2 to see how this version holds up, plus a few more PSVR2 bits and bobs. Before I start, if you like what you're seeing, then please press a like and subscribe. It helps the channel stay relevant and grow, and I really appreciate it. And today we're starting from review of PSVR2 version of Richie's Plank experience. And this is one of those classic viral virtual reality titles. Simple, effective and guaranteed crowd pleaser. You put a real plank on the floor, step into VR, ride an elevator and walk out over the huge drop. It's been used to introduce thousands of people to virtual reality over the years, and now it's back with a PSVR2 upgrade. So, is it actually any good, or does it suck balls? I'm gonna tell you all about it. Before I start, a quick disclaimer. The game was provided to me for free ahead of the release, but as always you get my honest opinion. And also, disclaimer too, Richie's Plank experience isn't a traditional game. It was never designed to be a long single player adventure or something you play for dozens of hours. This is very much a social VR experience, the kind of you bring out when friends or family visit, where the fun comes from watching everyone's reactions as they try it for the very first time. So, if you're looking at this wondering if it has deep gameplay or loads of content, that's not really what this one is about. It's built around that unique first-time VR moment that only virtual reality can deliver. With that in mind, let's take a look at what's new on PSVR, how it performs, and whenever it still holds up in 2025. Let's start from the setup and calibration, and the setup is much smoother this time around. Ideally, you grab your spare wooden plank. You do have one laying around somewhere, right? We all got spare plank somewhere. I don't know, but anyway, it will work fine without the plank. What's impressive is that for the first time ever, PSVR2 boots into full augmented reality setup. For some players, that alone might justify picking up this experience just to see how AR looks on PlayStation VR2. I'm not showing my setup here because I wasn't exactly dressed for the occasion, as PSVR2 caught me off guard here with that, but the calibration tools are intuitive and surprisingly precise and just very simple to pick up. You can tweak plank length, width, rotation and height with ease. By rotation I mean, you know, which way it faces. It's a huge improvement over the PSVR1 version. After a few agreements and permission you have to agree to, you are in. You start in a lift, as expected, and you can choose from several modes. You can of course walk the plank, you can do some firefighting, missile defense, sky brush meant for sky drawing, though for me it turned out into just flying. I don't know what I did wrong here. Hoop flight just around the city through floating rings, and there is a horror mode which I won't show footage here just not to spoil it for anyone because it's super short. But let's be honest, the core plank experience is mainly for entertaining guests, not solo replay value. Sticking donuts or a cake on the plank is amusing, but it's clearly designed for showing VR newbies the classic VR, you know, the streak that they think like they're gonna fall, all run into a wall. Thankfully, the flying modes are where you can find some amusement for a very short time. The game runs at smooth frame rate with no reprojection and is very sharp, and it just feels great. So once you begin flying, it feels really good. Hoop flight is pretty cool, trying to take tight corners. There is click turning, but I think the smooth turning is being added at launch for the flying. But anyway, I just turned my body in real life for that one. But sadly, the course layout never changes unless I'm doing something wrong, but I'm pretty sure it never changes. Once you've beaten it few times, you can get gold, silver or brown medal. You've seen everything. Same with the firefighting mode, it's fun and polished but very short. Missile defense is really fun. Flying close to rockets in a newly expanded city is great fun. This was my favorite part of the entire experience. There is also that horror mode, short but effective, and definitely capable of scaring someone who wasn't prepared. You can disable it in the options in case some of younger members of your family are playing, or if you feel super evil, just don't disable it. Content-wise, the whole thing is very bare bones. The replay value comes almost entirely from showing it to friends and family. And for many people, that first time work the plank magic happened 10 years ago. If they've already tried it on other headsets or PSVR1 back in the day, they probably won't care much about updated graphics. I tried to get my wife on it, since I didn't have anyone on hand to jump on it, but she was busy with house and she just said she's done it before anyway. And sadly, I got feeling many people will feel like that, as this experience was out for around 10 years now. Personally, after playing so many VR games that take you to much bigger heights, the fear factor of a basic plank walk doesn't really hit the same anymore, so I cannot just do a video pretending I'm screaming and I'm petrified. For me, just standing and looking around, and I think that's how many people will feel. The PSVR2 upgrade definitely helps though. Buildings are new, the city is larger, and there is several rendering techniques that giving everything this cleaner, sharper look, but also those post-processing effects, they pretty nice as well. Some of the distant landscape textures though, on which city is placed, they look rough, but overall it's a solid indie visual package. Performance is great as well, like I said, very smooth, everything looks sharp and crisp, and the game is very responsive. Movement is mainly room scale, with a slow step forward option by pushing your thumbstick. Flying controls are simple yet satisfying, like I said, and the game feels just polished overall. Nothing groundbreaking here, but also nothing sloppy either. I was hoping that the game will come with Canyon DLC, which I saw on other platforms, but it's not here yet, and I was hoping for it, so hopefully it will arrive down the line, but I find this being a bit of disappointment. Now, listen. The developers behind Richie's Plank experience have had a tough few years, being delisted from the Meta Store, layoffs in the studio, and the general industry struggles. So they given VR so many memorable moments, and their platformer, Max Mustard, is still absolutely fantastic. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Pick it up, it's brilliant, and also you will support the studio. But as for Richie's Plank experience, it's still very much an experience, not a game, just like I mentioned at the start of the video, and that's totally fine. But we also need to be realistic here. In 2025, it does feel a bit outdated. The PSVR2 version is mostly a visual and performance polish and upgrade, rather than like a big reinvention, and also, nobody is going into this blind. We need to be realistic here. For the past decade or so, or around that time, Richie's Plank has been one of the most viral virtual reality clips on the internet. Most VR users have either played it themselves or watched countless reaction videos. Many people have already had their first time edge of the plank moment, and many people, casuals included, already try virtual reality, because VR itself has been here for a decade as well. And once you've done it, the magic doesn't hit the same way twice. That's not the game's fault or experience's fault, it's simply a product of how iconic and widely experienced it already is. Apart from improved visuals, it's essentially the same Richie's Plank experience you remember. So, if you've done it before, I'm not sure you feel the need to revisit it, but if your family hasn't tried VR yet, or you're brand new to PSVR2, this is still one of the best showcase experiences you can own. and it is cheap, it is iconic, and the studio, along with all the past developers who worked for the studio, absolutely deserves recognition for creating something that becomes synonymous with virtual reality itself. My score is 5 out of 10, and that is not like a punishment for lack of content, and I'm not scoring it like a traditional game, and I hope there won't be many content creators that will score it as a game, because probably the scores would be even lower. In fact, I am not even sure that scoring experience like this is fair, but it's part of what I do here, so I'm scoring it based on what's new and how it feels to revisit it in 2025. There's nothing wrong with it, it's polished, it's fun, and the AR setup is pretty cool and quite nice addition, but the wow factor depends entirely on who you show it to and whenever you've personally walked this plank before. And what VR games you played before as well, because there is some, much scarier than this. For seasoned VR players, the impact might be gone. For newcomers, it's probably still going to be a great time. So even at 5 out of 10, I'm giving this one a thumbs up and a recommendation, just with the right expectation. Now, let's move on to the news, but before we start talking about Aces of Thunder, let's talk about Pulse VR first. This liminal water dream that many people really love already is finally making some moves on PlayStation VR2. All the way back in September, the developers confirmed a PSVR2 demo was on the way, and now we've got a proper update. When a fan asked if there was any news, the studio replied saying the full game releases next week and that they hope the PSVR2 demo will drop around the same time. The demo, which is basically entire first chapter of the game, was planned sooner, they said, but they had to put it on hold to focus on finishing the full game. The important part is, it is still coming, it is free, and it's for virtual reality players specifically. Now, saying that, let's move on to the next story and let's talk about Aces of Thunder. And we need to clear some air here about Aces of Thunder, because there's been a bit of confusion and I always want to make sure I'm giving you the most accurate, officially verifiable information possible. A few days ago I reported that Gaijin had updated the game's Steam listing and removed VR controller support from the feature list. Naturally, that raised some questions and alarms, because it suggested that motion controls might be getting removed from the game. But based on some new information, that might not be the case. A couple of weeks ago, I shared gameplay from the YouTube channel called Training Days, where they played the Aces of Thunder campaign, and yes, in those videos they used motion controls, even so briefly. The game looked fantastic though, and the missions shown were just a part of what's actually in the full campaign, so as far as I'm aware, there's probably going to be more. But anyway, then, after the Steam listing update and after I posted my PSVR2 news video about it, Training Days commented on my video, and they said that they've got access to the beta and that VR controllers are still present in menus and also remained an option for gameplay. So here is my correction, and the Steam listing still no longer mentions VR controller support, but I checked the PS Store and the PlayStation Store listing does mention VR controller support, and also let's remember this is a beta tester who actually plays the game, and we know he does because there is a gameplay out there on YouTube, which I'm gonna link in the description if you didn't saw it, so I'm assuming he will know what he's talking about. And as always, when I do PSVR2 news, I'm basing it on the official sources, public listings, developer statements and confirmed information, not rumors from, Reddit guesses or something like that, and something what I was guilty in past, but after a while I finally learned my lesson not to repeat unconfirmed rumors, and I think the channel is better for it lately. But SteamDB still shows further recent updates to the page as of recording this video. As of today, there was some updates to the package, but I don't know exactly what it is, as it just shows numbers, but it shows the developers actively working on it. Now, I do want to point something out, and this is aimed at Gaijin directly. Your communication has been shit. The game is getting review bombed before launch, the Facebook page is sitting at around 1.5 stars, and players are pretty much frustrated because nobody's saying anything to them. The game was announced for imminent release some time ago. Everyone got hyped, thinking it's just around the corner, and then here we are today, still nothing out until this day, without a word from the developers. Which is unfortunate, because the game looks absolutely fucking incredible. The campaign footage is great, the visuals are on another level, and once this releases, let's all be honest here, even all of you angry commenters and all of you boycotting this game, we all probably going to buy it and play it anyway, because that's how good it looks. And interestingly, if you look at the comments in my video, most people aren't even planning to use motion controls anyway. Roughly 80% of comments say they be using gamepad or HOTAS, and there is about 20% people who wanted motion controls, so it's, even if it's hard feature to implement, it is a minority feature, but of course still important to get right. Either way, as soon as anything official drops, new listings, announcements, development posts, Steam updates, I'll bring it straight to the channel without any rumors or guessing, you know, just solid confirmed news from the official sources officially available out there. Okay, that's it for today, thanks for watching. If you like what you're seeing, then please press a like, because it does help the channel a lot. And if you're new to the channel and are not subscribed, then subscribe. It's always better when it's more of us. And that's it. Bye 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 bye.